All right, here we go. I sound good, you guys? Sound all right? Okay. Well, I had a little pre-game crisis, I guess you could call it, with my internet slash computer. So I'm on my phone, but we're ready to go here. So let's get down to it. We got a nice guest here today. Somebody who I've been hinting towards getting on, for a little while now, but we'll get to him here in a little bit. Let's go out to Colorado today and see how Rosh is doing.
Hi guys. Yeah, everything's good here. Last couple of weeks, nothing crazy. Just experiencing some of the crazy weather that Wisconsin's experiencing, just not to the extreme. We were 60 degrees, hit 70 a couple times. Hey, but listen. It was 60 degrees, hit 70,
60,
and then
70.
But then this weekend we had some freezing rain, some snow, and now yesterday I think it was like 22 and snowy and
oh man, that's awful.
Oh, shut up. I don't like the temperature changes that much. I like more consistency, but it was nice. Temperature should be going back up again, but it's crazy out here because we actually get our most snowfall in the middle to end of March and into April. So it's kind of weird because, like I said, it'll be 70 for 2 weeks and then we'll get a foot and a half of snow. So makes for spring sports awfully difficult, but nothing too crazy. Just teaching, just coaching, hanging out with the little man a bunch. We actually just booked plane tickets home to Wisconsin. We leave Thursday night. But because of gas prices, people are flying a ton. And it's also March Madness the following weekend, so plane tickets are not cheap.
Yeah.
But we found a cheap one, but it gets us into Milwaukee at 12:15 a.m. So we're gonna stay in a little hotel right outside the airport. I found one with a little kiddie pool with some water fountain shooter things for cash. My only requirement was a hot buffet breakfast that's included in the morning, so I got that. So pretty jacked up about that, but I'll be home for almost 10 days, which will be nice for a nice little spring break. Then back to Colorado for a month, and then back to the Burg again to do our annual NFL draft weekend. So,
Rush,
yo,
guys, what's your guys' go-to continental breakfast item?
Man,
item
or items? Is there something that, like, man, I'm looking for this every time?
The waffle maker.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the waffle. You know where they got the little cup, you fill it up, and then you pour it in there, close it, spin it.
Yeah, those are tasty.
Yep, big fan of that because no matter where you go, it's not going to taste bad. You know what I'm saying? Where sometimes, like I'm a scrambled egg guy myself, but sometimes
they're too watery.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little sketchy. Sometimes they're scrambled eggs, but the waffle, is a go-to. That or just the little cereal cups, they got there.
Yeah, what about you guys?
Oh man, with bacon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I feel like I haven't had a bad. I mean, continental breakfast, man. Some of them are just hit or miss majorly.
Here's a banana and some OJ.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mike, I know you've been on the road quite a bit here. Let's hear from you, man.
Yeah. No, it's been a good couple weeks here. Did some recruiting south of Madison, was in Oregon last 2 weekends ago. Was in Wisconsin Rapids for a night, watching a game there. I actually got to see Jeremy, got to watch the game with him and one of his former players now, I guess, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Then Tuesday I drove to Canada, Saskatchewan for a little bit. Made my way back to Winnipeg. Ran into some car issues. I feel like I'm always running into car issues for some reason, but I won't tell the story. But yeah, let's just say I ran into a unique mechanic. Didn't fix my car either. So, but yeah, nothing too crazy. Actually, just got back home tonight. Henry had his final learn to skate hockey practice, which was a lot of fun. I forgot to tell you guys this too. It was like all the kids were like coming up like saying, "Thanks, coach. Thanks for the year." Like, because I'm, one of the coaches, and
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
it was really cool just having the kids come up and say that.
At
we
the
had a lot of.
at the party.
Yeah, we had like a little pizza party after practice tonight, and
Nice.
kids had a lot of fun this year and got a lot better, which is cool. But that's about it.
Yeah. All right, Matt, you're up.
Yeah, not a whole lot from for me. Last weekend went actually back home, back to the Burg. Celebrated my father-in-law Bruce's birthday. We went to Hillsbury Brewing. Got my favorite beer of all time, probably there. I think I've said it on this pod before. Then we kind of just made our way back to Reedsburg, hung out. Not a whole lot. Sunday, trying to think. Doing a little house projects, but not a ton. Just trying to tone up those handyman skills still. But yeah, other than that, pretty low key. Just waiting for the warm weather.
Speaking of that, I know that Big Mike was up towards you. Mike, did he get a lot of stuff done?
Oh yeah, I heard there was a list.
Yeah, well, didn't we talk about that on this podcast, or maybe not? But like, yeah, anytime Big Mike, my wife Annette always gives Big Mike like a little to-do list. But yeah, it wasn't anything too crazy. We got a big summer project planned, Matt. I'm gonna need your help. I can already tell you that we got to redo our roof on our garage
right.
at some point whenever it gets a little nicer. But yeah, snowblower had some issues. That was one of them. Yeah, nothing
more though, huh?
Nothing crazy, man.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not handy at all. So
no, I'm like, right there with you. I call my dad every time. So, but yeah, I mean, kind of like Mike said, it was nice to catch up with him a little bit in Wisconsin Rapids, and kind of had a player there, kind of doing a little visit, and kind of exciting news. And he got offered to play as well, to continue to play his, move on with his hockey career as well. So just really fun atmosphere there too, honestly, man.
Dude, there was like 700 fans there that night.
Yeah. Just really cool. Line out the door. Really cold night, but and a good hockey game. So that's exciting. I've had some personal stuff go on. You kind of deal with that on the side, of course. But this coming weekend, I'm going to be coaching Section 4 of Wisconsin senior hockey sections, I guess, and we're playing Section 1, I think, which is the Madison area. 9:00 Friday night if you're in the Waupun area.
That's a late night, dude.
Yeah, damn. And then we play at 1 the next day. So,
is it just 2 games, or
it'll be 3 guaranteed, 1 each day? So
okay.
So that's kind of nice. Good exposure for a couple of our players that are going there, some area teams, and so looking forward to that.
So real quick, like I know, like for some, it's like you get like some club hockey teams that will come. Like if maybe some kids don't want to play junior hockey, like I know there's some clubs teams that go to that, but do a lot of junior teams come to that as well?
Yeah. Actually, they sent us a list of all the teams that are going to be there, confirmed going to be there.
Nice.
But also, we get a lot of midget players that are going to go there. So midget, for those who don't know, is kind of like areas that don't have sanctioned WIAA teams. So it's kind of a way to get your name out there when you're not on on a statewide website for points or stat sheets, things like that. So pretty cool. Got one of them on my team, actually, so it's just kind of cool to hear about his experience as well. So anyway, further ado, let's bring in our guest here.
Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
The man of the hour.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So this is Tanner Schieve. And like I said earlier,
it's a nice last name.
He's kind of turned into a pretty good friend of mine at the school there. So for a number of reasons, I appreciate you coming on, Tanner. Just I think for people to get to know you a little bit better, your history, your experience with Reedsburg, things like that. And in fact, I actually had a friend of mine messaged me this morning and said, we got a new basketball coach this year, meaning this next coming year. I'm like, no, actually, he started this past fall and had no clue. that you had, and he's a basketball alumni, and so kind of explain, what we'll get to here in a little bit, the program and where it's came. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Tanner, where you're from, where you grew up, if it's the same place, any brothers, sisters, mom, dad, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm from Slinger, Wisconsin, which is like just north of Milwaukee. I spent most of my time, in the Milwaukee area playing. My dad was my high school basketball coach. Mom was a teacher. Dad was a teacher. Brother now coaches in college. I got a sister and 4 nieces. She had 4 girls. Rough life for her. Yeah, like the dad definitely messed up. He had to have a boy at some point, but no, they live up in Sheboygan. So most of my family's on that side. My brother is actually an assistant coach at UW-Platteville for the boys basketball team.
Okay.
But I went to Slinger and I graduated from there. And then I got asked to play college basketball at Madison College, which is a 2-year, and then Wisconsin Lutheran College, which is a 4-year. I had a lot of interest in high school at the Division III, 2 level, but my grades are so bad in high school that I didn't get into any of the schools that I wanted to. So then when I went to a junior college for 2 years, and then I finished my career at Wisconsin Lutheran College. After that, I got asked a couple countries to play professionally, England, Greece, India. Yeah, and I just decided I wanted to start my coaching career, and then I started in Wapaka. I was the JV2 coach in Wapaka for a year, and then I was the JV1 coach at Seymour for a year, and then I got the head coach job at Hilbert, which is a D5 school up in Appleton, for 2 years, and then now I'm here at Reedsburg.
So just real quick, sorry,
yeah,
Jeremy,
go ahead,
and I'm sorry for when did you? Obviously, you talked about there's obviously some coaching background with your family. Has that always been in the back of your mind? Like you knew that you kind of wanted to get into coaching as well?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, we would sit in the gym. My dad would take us to practice, and I'd be there for after school all the way till we went home. And I used to sit in the locker room and act like as a 6-year-old listening to PD Pablo rap songs. Like, and my dad, we would get home and we'd be singing the lyrics, and my dad'd be pissed off at us because we didn't know what they meant. But it's like growing up, I was always in the gym. And then my first coaching experience, I was 16, and I was coaching our rec, our hometown rec team at 4th graders. And then ever since then, I was like, I love it. And then I do a bunch of basketball camps in the summer with some pretty cool guys, Brian Butch and Mike Lee. They're guys that train NBA guys. And so I got to work camps with them. And then, just going into college, I coached AAU right away, my first year of college. And then, I kind of just was hooked.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I didn't know any of that, the professional stuff, which is kind of nuts. What would have the pay been like for something like it?
It was a really cool experience. I didn't go, I chickened out, but I got asked to go to these 3 companies, I guess they're called, in these countries, contacted me and said, we want you to come to these showcases, and then we want you to, be a part of the team the seasons are so small. It's like a 7 or 8 week season, as the beginning. I got a couple of friends right now that play in Portugal still, but so it's a really small season. And then after that season happens, and their season starts, and that's how you kind of get your contracts.
Sure.
And so I got asked to go down to North Carolina and do a Division III Team USA tryout, which was kind of cool. And then, I ended up not going, mainly because
D3 baby.
Yeah. But I didn't go because I wanted to get into my coaching, and I wouldn't have graduated college right away. And I thought if I take a year off of basketball and then graduate and then go, it'll be too late. And your skills will go down and stuff like that. So I decided to get my degree and start teaching and coaching.
Yeah, I mean that makes complete sense. It's always interesting. Everybody's path is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
as they get to where they are today, whether it's coaching or playing career, of course. But so talk a little bit about your dad again. I know, just from conversations with you, Tanner, that he's made quite the impact statewide with his coaching, and he kind of had a special honor recently. If you wanted to talk about that as well.
Yeah. So my dad coached for 39 years, 8 years as the JV coach at Slinger, and then 31 years as the varsity coach. So like growing up, that's the only thing I ever knew was him being the basketball coach.
Right.
It's unreal.
Yeah. And then I want to say like 3 years ago, got inducted into the Wisconsin Hall of Fame, which was kind of cool. He's got like 300, 400 wins, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then like one of the coolest moments was Slinger inducted him into like the Slinger Hall of Fame or the Slinger some sort of award, and it was against Nicolay when Jalen Johnson made his return from college or from IMG. He came back and we got to watch Jalen Johnson right before he went to the
Wow.
right before he went to Duke. Got to watch him murder Slinger. But like, so he got honored at halftime, and like Jalen Johnson sat there and watched my dad get honored, which is kind of cool. But yeah, and then he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now he's been there, and then my brother got inducted into the team, the best college team in Wisconsin for the last like 4 years. He's gotten to go and be that. It's like it's kind of a cool thing that I got family members that know what they're doing basketball wise too.
Yeah, and your brothers, correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned Platteville's really good this year too, right?
Yeah, they actually were ranked at one point second in the country.
Wow. Okay.
And then they lost to Oshkosh in the conference championship. And then the NCAA, kind of like the March Madness of D3, was this weekend. They lost to Calvin University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in like the round of 32. Some guy from Calvin had 39 on, and he shot like 70% from the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool, watching him. He, Greg Gard's brother, Jeff Gard, is actually the head coach of Platteville. So
Okay.
Did you guys know that?
What?
Did you guys?
I didn't know that.
I did
No.
not know that.
Yeah.
No.
So Jeff Gard and Greg Gard are brothers. And so I've sat like right next to Greg Gard at a UW Platteville game. He's just a normal human being, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, his brother has been there since, I want to say like 16 or 15 or something like that.
Wow.
So he's been there. Yeah.
Tanner, what's your take on that Greg Gard stuff recently? Just real quick.
I think that when you watch them play their last game against Nebraska.
Yeah.
And when Davis went out, he doesn't have much, like the dudes aren't great. Like they do exactly what he wants them to do. And it's kind of like Billy, Bob, and Joe, mess around, and Johnny Davis has 30 and they win games.
Yeah.
So it's like, to his credit, he's done more than what
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But for me, it's like the recruiting aspect. He's got to start getting some guys in Wisconsin. When you look at the names of the guys, not all of them, he doesn't get the top name guys in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And so, that's the issue right now is the new Marquette head coach, Shaka Smart, went out and grabbed the two top players in Wisconsin. You can't do that kind of stuff when you're a recruit.
So we'll jump back a little bit here too, and I'm curious as to, just to let the audience know, or whoever ends up listening, I guess that would be the audience, which is a dumb statement. But why Reedsburg, man? What brought you to Reedsburg? And kind of talk about that process.
Yeah, so Slinger's got like 920 kids or something like that, and Reedsburg's at 868, and I was at a D5 school in Hilbert, and it was really little, like to the point where I had like 17 kids in my entire basketball program. And so I wanted to get a job somewhere where, it's similar to how I grew up, a smaller town, but a big enough population. And then when I got here, like I interviewed for a teaching job first, and then I met with our athletic director, and he started walking around the school, and this brand new weight room was like, I saw that it's $2.5 million weight room we just built.
Yeah.
And then we went and looked at our intermediate school, and that's brand new. So I was like, this is something where maybe we can build on this stuff moving forward. And then historically, like, I know the Dells are always really good.
Yeah.
So if the Dells can do it with, this, the same type of athletes and clientele, this is kind of like an untouched area that we could build something here to be successful.
Yeah. And you had said something earlier that kind of struck me a little bit. And I'd asked you, what would it look like if Wisconsin Lutheran had offered you a position to coach? Like in the ideal world, hey, we got this alumni who's doing some good things coaching, had an opportunity to play professional ball, played for us and played well for us. What would your response be to that program if they reach out to you and said, hey, job's yours?
Yeah, that's because my brother is so like into the college coaching world. I have a lot of friends that are college coaches as well. And so I've had the opportunity to like be a grad assistant on a staff or, a volunteer assistant right away. And then in coaching, you kind of have to work your way up in college but I always wanted to coach high school basketball. I think it's cooler when you see that third grader grow all the way up into a scholarship athlete and you're like, yeah, I saw him when he was just a little kid. I think that ability to develop kids and make an impact on their life from third grade to 12th grade, to me, is more enjoyable than from an 18-year-old to a 22-year-old.
Sure.
That I like that. Number two, I kind of got this sounds bad, but I got a big of an ego, and I think it's cooler to run a program in high school than to be somebody's assistant in college.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why I like it. And then the last thing is I like teaching. I really enjoy being a teacher. I get to wake up every day and it's a job that I enjoy coming to school to do every day. And so as a college coach, that's it. That's your job. Like my brother, he wakes up at 8:00 and he goes to school and he does basketball all day. And so some days he doesn't really interact with kids. He doesn't interact with his players because he's doing recruiting or he's doing scouting or he's doing stuff like that. Where he doesn't, it's more the business side of it, where I get to, hang out with kids in my room all day and then go and coach as well.
What do you teach right now, Tanner?
So I'm an academic support teacher or an interventionist. It's like students that we categorize as tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 students, which are like, they struggle in school, but they don't qualify for IEPs, which is like a special education program. And so my job is to make sure that they, don't lower in their tiers to tier 3 or after tier 3 would be to admit them into special ed. So my job is to, kind of build this relationship with these guys and girls to make sure that they are, successful learning how to be a student at the high school. And with COVID, they really didn't have much of a school the last couple of years. And so being a student is like, I'm teaching students how to be students in high school, as well as, my having kids that don't really have a home life or things like that, where I get to work with them as well.
Yep. Yeah. And so like Tanner and I work, pretty close to each other. We do the same exact thing. Same job title.
Who shows up to work first, Jeremy or Tanner?
Oh, Jeremy does.
Jeremy does.
I roll in at 7:45 every day, and I walk in the room and it's open, and I was like, "Geez, he gets here early."
Yeah. Not always. I mean, yeah, it depends. But yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, I mean, I know personally from your players, Tanner, and some of your students that obviously you're respected for more than just your basketball, knowledge. And they want to go in there because they like to have, the conversations about life, about meaning today and tomorrow, yesterday. And so it's more than, basketball for you. And I see that pretty clearly. And I know that a lot of the students respect that about you as well. But a few more things here. Tell us what your basketball career may be most well known for. At least,
yes. So when I was a junior in college, I hit 2 back-to-back game-winning half-court shots.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
To a point where, like, at a D3 college, I blew up and was on ESPN. Like, I was getting interviewed by ESPN reporters. I was on Top 10. I was on What's the C or No?
Oh,
Yeah, the poppy.
Yeah,
Oh,
with Pop-
yeah.
that was kind of sweet. And then like even on YouTube, I was nominated for Geico Play of the Year. But we were the first game, we were up 3. Kid comes down, buries a 3 with like 4 seconds left. We inbound the ball, and I take 3 dribbles, and I just chuck the thing, and I bury it. And then the next game, we were tied, and the kid misses the 3. We get the defensive rebound, throw it to me, and I take 2 dribbles, like pass right before half court, and chuck it and bank it in.
Jeez.
It was sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But so that was pretty cool. There was like, I was Deadspin, which is like the knockoff Bleacher Report for E3. They were like, we need to get Tanner Schieve and Steph Curry in a half court contest.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was cool as well. But yeah, that I made those 2, and I think I made we did the math. We counted out. I was like made like 7 or 8 on game tying or game winning shots within the last 10 seconds of a game in my college career. It's pretty sweet.
That's pretty.
Jeez.
That's pretty cool. So what we do a lot is we'll throw in a question that we didn't prepare you for, or at least I do. And what kind of came to my mind was, who is your favorite basketball player of all time?
Growing up, like today's kids, they go play like 2K. And so like I struggle when I work out kids. There's a cone in front of them, and they don't see a defender. They just see it. I'm dribbling to a cone and I'm crossing over.
Yeah.
And like when I was growing up, I was playing 1-on-1 against Allen Iverson. And like that was the guy I was hitting game-winning shots against.
Yeah.
And so growing up, Allen Iverson would be my favorite player.
Okay.
And now you got to love Giannis. Like he's just a great person.
Yeah.
And then one of my roommates in college was actually living in the same apartment complex as Giannis for his rookie like when he had that rookie contract, he didn't really have enough money to buy anything. So he was living in this apartment building with my buddy was his neighbor.
Jeez.
And then he said he got that big deal, and my buddy's like, yeah, I never saw him again after that.
What
about the building?
Yeah, probably.
So you've been in Reedsburg for a little while. Where's the go-to place to go out to eat in town? What's your go-to?
I'm a big Brewster's.
Good question.
Big Brewster's Lanes guy.
Yeah.
The bartenders are pretty close. I walk in and they ask if I want the hangover with boom boom sauce and fries and the plastic cup, and I said, yeah, that's
me.
That's perfect.
So, no, I like that place. What's the Mexican food restaurant? Cancun. I really like that. I really like Cancun.
Yeah.
And then the golf the golf course has good food there as well. But
are you a golfer at all?
Yeah, I golf probably like 70 times. I'm actually going down in 2 weeks to Destin to golf 2 PGA courses.
Oh, there you go.
For spring break.
Hey, Tanner, actually, May 1st, the artist may need a fourth, or you can just golf for me. I can just go around.
All right.
So, keep that in mind, but
yeah.
So Tanner, you'll have to go back. So last year we got together.
Oh
for the NFL draft.
Okay.
And we
made a mock.
We had a Facebook poll of what Jeremy would shoot. We played at Trapper's Turn.
Oh my
god. We had like a live video going of him as well. You know what? A couple mulligans here and there, but
yeah,
we did all right.
I underperformed.
Like was that like a 108?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Proved a lot. Proved a lot of people wrong. So,
you did save yourself with those 2 pin seekers.
I forgot about those. Yeah,
the one that he putted it from like 70 yards out and you hit the pin.
Yeah. Hit the pin, went right down. Yep.
And then the other one, he was chipping and he just hits a missile and it hits the flag, like legit, just the flag. It drops straight down. Straight down.
It's a good day to be lucky.
Oh yeah. Could have easily been a 120.
Especially when you're on Facebook Live too.
So, a couple more questions, Tanner. Real quick, thoughts on Friday with the girls game against Pewaukee. Where do you see? You don't necessarily have to give a prediction, but I mean, obviously they've had a pretty special season. You being coaching the boys program, you've probably gotten close to their coach and their players. And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Mark's a great guy. I really like talking to him, and him being been around and been in Reedsburg, I kind of reach out to him when I have like questions on how to do stuff. And I was at every girls' home game this year, and as a competitor, we weren't great this year. And watching them, I sat there like, maybe tonight's the night. Maybe tonight's the night they get beat. And then as I watched them play in the regional final against a Forest, or the sectional semis against a Forest, and like I think 7 girls made threes in that game, and like that's an unbelievable mark, And so at that point I was like, geez, they're the real deal. Like I feel bad that they kind of got looked down upon when the state seedings came out, because they were this 2 seed.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's the 1 seed. And I was like, when we barely had 7 kids all year make a 3, and they have 7 doing in one game, it's pretty impressive. And then they have 4 girls that are just dominant factors of the game. So I don't know. When in my high school, we had a team similar. We were 21-4, and we ran into a team with a D1 kid. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Pewaukee's got a girl that's really good. If our girls can take her out of what she's good at. I watched them do it against Wanakee with the D2 girl, but this girl and against McFarland with the sophomore. I'm thinking this girl's a little, she's kind of higher major, so it'll be interesting to see what we can do with them as well, because like the Pewaukee athletic program right now, girls went to state for volleyball, girls are in state for basketball, boys are ranked 1 for football, or I think boys went to state or 1 state for football, and then they're ranked 1 for basketball. So like the boys the Pewaukee's kind of got it figured out. So we're kind of walking to this game like we have some bones to pick with them.
Yeah, sure. And definitely redemption from last year. So
absolutely,
I know that a lot of people are going to be cheering and watching that game on, and so pretty special time of the year. But last thing here, Tanner, and I know we put a little teaser out there for our following and audience, so you guys. But tell us about the Family Feud, how that came to be. Any regrets with it? Anything? Anything you want to add to that?
It was
Dude, hold on. Those questions were freaking hard.
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
God?
They were.
Like,
yeah.
Obviously I never watched them. I'm thinking, man, these are tough questions. Like you did. I thought you did pretty good.
Well, and so like how they do it is they film 4 shows in one day. And then it goes like a easy fast money, and then a hard fast money, and then an easy fast money, and then a hard fast money. So like if someone wins 4 in a row, they don't win, because if you win 5, you get the car.
Oh yeah.
And if you win 5 fast monies, that's $100,000 and a car. It's like they try and split it up hard, easy, hard, easy. Well, the game before us, the fast money was like, name the most famous turkey dinner, name something you have for Christmas and dinner. Like they're getting 50 points on ham and turkey, and I'm trying to say, what's something you upgrade? Like what? No, but yeah, it was cool. So my mom, she my brother, my dad, and I were at state basketball on Saturday, and my mom texted all of us, and we're 3 sheets to the wind at this point. And she texts us. She's like, "Hey, there's Family Feud tryouts in Milwaukee tomorrow. Do you guys want to go?" And we're like whatever. So Saturday we watched the state finals, and then Sunday we drove to Milwaukee and did this interview, and there was 750 families were in this that were there.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and so we were like the 14th family to go, and all they do is they ask you to play 2 points, a point where you win and a point where you lose, and then you have to do like the X's and like all that stuff, and they don't care how you sound as long as you're like fun and outgoing.
Yeah.
And so with the first 13 families get up there, and they're like just terrible. you could tell like they're trying to fake it and not be genuine. And we get up there, and my brother and I are we like to have a lot of fun, and so we get up there and acting like just a bunch of clowns. And all of a sudden, the lady hands us a piece of paper, and she's like, "All right, go downstairs, and you have to go to like a second interview." So we walk downstairs, and there was like one family there, and we were waiting in line while they were doing the interviews, and like 7 or 8 families walked down afterwards, and they're like, "You guys made it easy. We just copied what you guys did, and that's why we got to come down here." We're like, "All right, that sounds good." So then we had like a personal interview with the lady that runs the whole thing, and it was just like the camera was on us, and we had to like tell us something fun about ourselves, where we're from, and things like that. And then they said, "All right, well, we'll let you know how it goes." So we sat for like 2 or 3 weeks, and we sat around like, "All right, they picked someone else."
Yeah.
And then they emailed us, and they said, "All right, we want to set up a phone interview with you." So they called us, and then they like gave us another interview, kind of, who are we, what we're trying to do, and if we're good people or bad people, things like that. And after the phone interview, they're like, "All right, we'll send you some dates, and you pick these dates, the ones that you can, and the ones you can't do, and we'll be ready to go." Well, luckily, I just graduated college, and so I still had, I just still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And my brother coaches college basketball, so at this point, he's does everything. And my dad's retired, my mom's retired, and so we gave like a bunch of dates. And then they're like, "Deal, you got to get to the airport, and we will pay for your flight. We'll pick you up. We'll pay for your hotel. We'll pay to feed you." Like, it was like the real deal.
Yeah.
And so we got on the flight. Actually, so we get to the hotel, or we get to the airport, and they say, "Your flight's been delayed." And we're like, "Well, it can't be delayed. Like, we've got a show to shoot." So they said, so Family Feud then paid for us to get on a bus from Milwaukee and drive all the way down to Chicago, and then fly us out to LA.
Yeah.
Well, we handed over our luggage, like our nice shirts and our, like my parents' makeup, or my mom and sister's makeup and stuff like that were in one bag. And then we just had like our travel gear in the other bag. Well, they lost the bag. And so we land in LA without our nice clothes and stuff to get ready for this show. Well, so we get out of the airport, or we get out of the airplane, and we walk down, and like this is one of the coolest moments of my life. The dude was standing there with a sign that said Schieve family. Like in all the movies, like when you feel like a big deal. Well, he was Usher's driver.
Wow.
So he picked us up in his like Family Feud. Like, he worked part-time for Family Feud, and then he worked for Usher. And he picked us up in his like Family Feud van, and we drove to the hotel. And we looked at him, and he's like, we're like, "We lost our bag. We don't know where it is."
Yeah.
He's like, "Don't worry, I got you." Apparently he made some phone calls and found it for us. But so they drove us to the hotel. We stayed in this like luxurious hotel. We sat in the hot tub, and like from people from Wisconsin, we're sitting in the hot tub drinking, watching Jaws on like this huge jumbotron in the middle of LA. And like people are looking at us like, "Geez, these guys drink a lot," but it's pretty normal for us. But so then we wake up the next day, and we go to the studio at like 9, and it's like real deal. It's time to go to work.
Yeah.
And so we got there, and we like had to sign a bunch of paperwork to go over like confidentiality stuff. And then we get on there, and they like do a practice round. And there was, I want to say like 14 families that were there. And some families got on the practice round, and they freaked out because they couldn't do it with all the lights.
Yeah.
So Family Feud sent them home. It's like they flew them out there, and they were like, "You're not good enough for us. We're going to send you home."
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we got out there, and we were the last show. So like there was 4 shows. We were the 4th show of that day filming. And so like we sat there the whole day, like, all right, are they going to send us home, or are we going to, go on? Finally, we go on. And I know Family Feud cuts it to like 20 minutes, but it was like an hour and like 45 minutes of Steve Harvey just swearing, F this, F that, like just a stand-up comedy for Steve Harvey. And we're trying to like think of answers while he's doing all this stuff. And so we ended up losing the first game, but like Steve Harvey like walked off the set in the middle of the game, so then it became like an unfair advantage for both families. And so then we got to come back, even though we lost.
Okay.
Well, that was a Friday, and it was Steve Harvey's wedding anniversary on Saturday, and he was flying in a private chef from Bali to cook his wife and him a dinner on the ocean. And so he canceled the shows all day Saturday. And so then they're like, you got a free day. And so we went down to the bays, and we just bar hopped from one side of the bay all the way to the other side of the bay, just drinking and playing this game they called categories, which is like, I would say a category, and then everybody says something in the category until somebody says the same one or messes up. And that's kind of like what Family Feud told us to play, like to get us going.
Yeah.
And so then they sent us home and then flew us back out for a second trip. So we got to fly out there twice.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the second game we won. And my brother and I were not great on the fast money.
Yeah.
And then the third game, we were up 182. You got to get to 200. We were up 182-6, and we choked. The question was, Santa's from the North Pole, but then how come all of his presents say made in what? The top 4 answers.
Okay.
And I was the buzzer, so I said China. That was the number 1 answer. So
Yeah.
then we said, all right, we're gonna play.
Yep.
Then my brother said Mexico. Or no, my sister, my mom said Mexico. My dad said Tokyo, maybe Japan.
Okay.
And then so we had all three of the top 4 without any buzzers. And then my brother, my sister, and I choked. And it was Thailand.
Oh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so we choked, and they wanted it. They won it, and then they ended up winning they won 5 in a row and won the car.
wow.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So what could have been? Huh?
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's
Pretty
an
much.
unreal. That's an unreal story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was sweet. And like because we didn't win, we didn't get the $20,000.
Yeah.
So like I came back and I had $167 in my pocket, like going out there to play Family Feud, and I had $160 in my pocket.
Yeah.
No, probably the best part of the trip was I was at a bar in Seymour because I was living up in Seymour by myself, and when it aired, like I told the bartender because it was the owners of the bar, their son played for me at the time. So like I was like, hey, by any chance I can come over and watch this, and have a beer with. And so I'm sitting there with some old dude, and all of a sudden my show goes on, and we're probably watching it for like 5 or 6 minutes. Finally, the old dude turns and looks at me. He's like, wait, is that you on TV? He had no idea. And so that was kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, what an experience.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, we could obviously keep talking. I know I wanted to maybe have you back on it and talk a little bit more about the exact, the program and stuff. But I wanted to thank you for taking the time, Tanner.
Yeah, this
Just
is
let
awesome.
us get to know you a little bit more, and maybe Reedsburg get to know you a little bit more too, and wish you all the luck in the future too. So
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate this. This is fun. Great. I love to come back.
yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Yep.
See you, Tanner. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of feel a little bad because we didn't really even get to talk about Reedsburg basketball. We talked more about the girls than the guys, but
Well, he talked a little bit about it, and I think they're obviously going through a little bit of a rebuild from what it sounds like right now, and he touched on too, like I think he's got a good grasp of like the overall like how football kind of was a couple years ago, even like start them young, get this is the culture, this is the tradition. So I think he touched on that a little bit too, which I think is as a younger guy, like that's something you got to think about as well, is really trying to build Reedsburg basketball up, because when we were younger, Reedsburg basketball had some phenomenal years with Clayton Hansen and Eric Van Cleve.
Right.
Chris, help me out with some other names. I'm missing some guys, maybe even.
Mazers.
Yeah,
Mazers,
yeah. So they had some,
Reimer and Dave Turner, and that whole crew was pretty talented too.
yeah. So
Otherwise, yeah, let's move forward here quick. I know we got a couple of things to kind of talk about here. Yeah, so the girls play Friday. That's 3:15, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like half hour after the first one, if I remember right, or 15 minutes. I don't remember what it was.
Okay, so it could be not 3:15, but yeah, we also talked about actually some pretty exciting news. Coach Bouch won the Coach of the Year for wrestling Badger Conference.
Nice.
He sent 2 guys to state. Unfortunately, they gave it their all, but ran into some tough competition. But so that program's looking very good for the future, as well as gymnastics. Had some ladies compete in state, went as a team, and had a state winner in Emily Craker. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
So
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, she set a new school record in the beams, and so I mean, obviously, and I think she's just a sophomore, so
yeah.
Wow.
A good athlete and a bright future for her as well. And we're very proud, and we posted it on our social media. It's just exciting, exciting for them, exciting for the school, exciting for the community. I mean, we've talked about, just to be proud of all these young athletes, and just really exciting. So, Matt, we'll give you the Wisconsin update here.
Yeah, I'll go backwards this time. Badger women's hockey, they're ranked 5th. They lost 2-1 to number 1 Ohio State to go to the WCHA championship last weekend. So upcoming now, the NCAA tournament, they play number 10 Clarkson Thursday at 6. If they won that one, they would play the number 3 Northeastern Saturday at noon. And obviously, if they win that one, they'd be headed to the Frozen Four. First time actually in a while. I actually didn't look back, but not in the top 5 seed. They're actually in one of those like play-in games in the NCAA. They're actually looking for back to back this year, which would be I don't know if that's ever been done, honestly.
That's not.
Women's basketball, they actually finished 8-21. Obviously, we've talked about it a couple times on here. Very promising start under new coach Marissa Mosley.
Yeah, let's get her recruits in and see with them and
exactly see what she can do. Obviously, cut in from UConn, that program. Men's hockey, their season finally came to an end. They lost 2 games to 1 in the best of 3 versus Notre Dame. Yep. They finished 10-24-3. Very ugly season. Kind of begs the question, what happens now to Mike's boy TG? I guess time will tell here.
I just side note, but it's a newer podcast. It's called give me 1 minute. I got to find this out. It's like the Breakout Sessions, and they have Marco Siki in it.
Yeah.
You guys should listen to that. It's a really cool podcast, and he talks about, because Mark's
He's the primary recruiter.
Yeah, he's a head recruiter, so he talks about recruiting and just talks to him about like the family aspect of it as well. Like he talks about like he's thinking about maybe like going on to be a head coach again. He had a cup of tea with Ohio State, but yeah, if you guys get a chance, it's two old geezers out of Eau Claire, and they've had like some of like the top Wisconsin hockey people on the podcast. Like Matt Troy Ward was on it as well. Yeah, and nice. Yeah, it's really cool. You guys should check it out. Sorry about that for interrupting.
All good. Okay. And then finally, men's basketball ranked 12th. They won 70-67 versus number 8 Purdue last Tuesday. Crazy game. I think a couple of you guys tuned in. Chucky Hepburn with a game-winning bank 3-pointer gave the Badgers a share of the Big Ten title. And then a disappointing one Sunday. They lost 74-73 to Nebraska. Johnny Davis got hurt. With that loss, they actually shared the Big Ten title with Illinois. Davis came out today. Actually said his ankle is going to be totally fine. I think he had a mild sprained ankle. Should be good to go Friday. Upcoming, The Big Ten tournament, obviously, they're the number 2 seed. Play the winner of Michigan State and Maryland. And then how the Big Ten works is if they win, they play Saturday. If they win that, they play Sunday.
So they only need to win 3 games.
3 games to be the winners. And then it came out today, the Big Ten. Greg Gard, Coach of the Year of the Big Ten. Obviously, that's well-deserved. They were picked 10th to finish. Brad Davidson, second team All-Conference. Chucky Hepburn, he was on the All-Freshman team. Tyler Wall, honorable mention. Johnny Davis was the Player of the Year in the Big Ten. I believe. Really? Yeah, that leaves I just had the list up. He's the 4th, I think, Badger to do that. Orlando Tucker, Devin Harris, and
Kaminsky.
Kaminsky. Yep.
Yeah.
He was obviously first team All Big Ten, but I found this as a crazy stat. One writer voted him second team, so that did not make him unanimous. How crazy is that?
What? Who was that guy?
They don't have to come out. They don't have to come out and say it. Like,
what?
you know how like MLB comes out. Yeah.
On a side note too, I don't know if, and I never ever look at where guys are projected to go, but he moved up again. He's like a top 5 pick now for the NBA draft.
Yeah, he's having an unreal year. And then just quick on the NCAA, I don't know when our next pod is going to be, but the perfect scenario right now for the Badgers would be to be in Milwaukee their first 2 games, which is looking like a very good possibility.
Then it's Chicago, right? Or
if they get in the Midwest bracket, then it'd be 2 games in Chicago. So, I mean, if they can line that up, who knows?
I was reading something today. So Coach K's from Chicago. I don't know if you guys sent that in the group or not, but Duke has made a request to be in that.
That's ridiculous
Section.
So I thought,
which was
So he's looking over himself compared to fans, Duke fans in North Carolina, being able to travel closer to the game.
I don't know, man. It's Coach K.
I think everybody that obviously, like anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see Duke. We can talk about this next, but I don't see them winning. But
yeah, it's a pretty wide open year. We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, also keep an eye out for our just kind of a small little fundraiser that we did last year. Our March Madness bracket, I think it was like $10, half to the pod, and then the other half to the first place winner. So, who won it last year, guys? You remember?
Did you win it?
There's no one in here.
No, I'm trying to remember who did.
I know.
I can go back on.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think once that thing opens up on ESPN, there, I think we can see who.
Yeah, we can check. Oh God, I don't remember.
I don't either.
I'm sure they'll
probably Durrell.
Probably
Durrell Naquin.
I'm sure they'll let us know if they listen to this episode. But him or Dean. Dean probably. But all right, let's go to Rush. Green Bay. The Green Bay news. How about you break the news to our show here, as well as your thoughts right away?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, it was a crazy day today. With Rodgers committing to the Packers, I still can't determine if that contract is final or not because I saw it and then Rodgers said I haven't signed anything, but now I'm seeing it pop back up again tonight. So, regardless, it sounds like it's going to be very cap friendly. Is what the word is for sure. So. It's obviously exciting news for Packers, regardless of what the contract is. With the guaranteed money, the positive with guaranteed money or upfront money is it doesn't count against the cap. So even though it's $50 million a year, it's really not because he gets so much money up front or in a signing bonus or whatever. So that stuff's all positive. Tagged Adams too, which is huge to get both of those two. Now it's just I'm anticipating 27 to 30 million a year he's going to get because Mike Williams of the Chargers just signed for 20 million a year. And we all know Adams is significantly better. I think Hopkins is the highest right now at 27 million a year. And based on his season last year, Adams has tons of leverage with, he's better than him and he's getting 27. So I think it's going to be in that 27 to 30 million range. Again, hopefully they do something. Regardless, with his contract, it'll actually be a smaller cap hit than getting tagged, which will be a good thing. It'll actually be less than 20 million again because of how they can work the money around. So that's good. The negative news is Russell Wilson going to the Broncos because I think from about 1 o'clock, maybe I think it might have been 12 o'clock, 12:30 my time out here till I left at, right after school. I heard Broncos winning the Super Bowl probably 100 times from my students. They said the same thing last year, though, before they had the record they did. But, we talked about it all day. I think that trade helps both teams significantly. I mean, Seattle got a haul, but they're giving up a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. The Broncos have a very good squad. I mean, their defense finished 6th, I think, or 6th or 7th last year in the NFL.
Yeah, they're young.
And they got a really, really solid core offensively for weapons. Even with trading away Noah Fant, they got that stud from Missouri. I don't even want to say his last name. Yeah, sure. That sounds great. And he actually had a really good second half of the season. So between him, if they re-sign Melvin Gordon, which would be pretty cool to see those two in the backfield again, plus that Javonte Williams and Sutton and Judy and Tim Patrick. I mean, they got a good system. Plus, they obviously have a really good offensive-minded head coach now for Wilson to work with. So, I hate to say it around all these Bronco fans, but I'm not saying Super Bowl, but they're going to be a very solid team. It's hard to give them Super Bowl aspirations when they play in the division that they do.
Yeah, big time.
You got to play the Chiefs twice. You got to play the Chargers twice. And shoot, I mean, even the Raiders, just never know. I mean, the Raiders play everyone tough. The game I went to this year was the first game after Gruden got fired, and the Raiders beat the Broncos at the Broncos Stadium. So, you can't rule them out ever either. So that's going to be the only thing, is just playing in a really tough conference. But back to the Pack. Go back to the Pack. What do you guys think of all that?
I have just two comments really, and we've talked about it on this podcast before, but it has to say a lot too that he wanted to stay in Green Bay as well. Like we've talked about how Giannis.
Well, hold on. I was just gonna say, keep going, because that's where I was gonna get to that. The point that national media always is like, these people want out of Wisconsin sports. Yelich stayed, Giannis stayed, Rodgers stayed.
Even Aaron Jones signing that big contract was a
Ryan
first.
Braun stayed. These guys are staying.
I think that should be talked about a little bit more. And the other comment that I just wanted to make about the great news out of Green Bay today was, we've been fortunate. My whole life, basically, we've had a franchise QB for the last 30. What Matt said, you said that was like 34 years.
I was born in 92 and Favre came in 91, right?
Yeah,
so 30 years.
Pretty much the last 30 years we've had. Our whole basically, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I think the Packers are. I think they're close. It's going to be interesting to see kind of, and this is where I think Goot really shines, is finding the Rasul Douglases, the guys like that. I think he obviously has the right scouting staff, or he's doing a good job of finding. We're obviously pressed up against it on the cap side of things. Let's go find the kind of diamonds of rough now.
And speaking of that too, I think if Goot can have a really good draft, that is going to help us big time too, because then you don't necessarily have to go find that Rasul Douglas if Jair goes down. I'm saying Stokes obviously stepped right into that role more than anybody probably thought.
Oh yeah.
But I think if he can have a good draft here, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about it. I don't know how many picks we have, but yeah. Good draft, and then hopefully we can re-sign as many of these guys as we can.
Yep.
It will be a very important 7 days.
Yeah, next 7 days, right?
Yeah, next Tuesday at 4, I believe, is when the new year begins.
Yeah. Anyway, we're certainly going to talk more about this. I mean, we're going to have time to talk more information. tags or not tags, but moves that are going to with the teams and so. But other than kind of ran long today, but good episode. Tanner,
Yeah, Tanner was awesome.
yeah. But we'll
be on the
take,
lookout for that March Madness.
Yeah, look out for that March Madness. I'm sure it'll be Matt or I. I reach out to you, but
we
Just
all
a little-
have roles. We
just a
all
little
have roles,
inside
Jay Green.
Yeah.
We all have roles amongst this team.
but thanks for watching, guys, and stay safe.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.